Hello and welcome to the first episode of Dashcam Drive. My name is Wizzy here, you can also call me Wizzy. In this video, I'm going to be taking a ride to Five Guys and back. Now I'm not sponsored by Five Guys, but if you would like to sponsor me, let me know. Now another thing I should mention too is it is windy as of me recording this audio, so you may hear that in the background, so I just want to mention that real quick too. Now, another thing I need to mention too, or as well rather, is ignore the time and date up in the upper left corner. That is not correct. The camera that I'm using, I didn't adjust the time and date on it. So, and unfortunately every time I replace the battery with a new battery that's charged, it resets the date and time back to like January 1st, 2018 or whatever. So I should probably just turn that feature off. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to mention that as well. So ignore that. I didn't do that obviously for this recording. So of course, with that being said, the time and date is, like I said, wrong. I actually recorded this, well, today, as of me redoing the audio, it's Monday. I recorded this video on Saturday, the day before this. So April 12th is actually when it was recorded, around 2 p.m. or so. Now I didn't edit out the stoplights or anything like that, so when I stop at the stoplights, there's no editing of that. I probably should have, but I didn't think of it until afterwards. I'd already mixed the music together and everything, and I didn't feel like adjusting that again. So I got it to where it fits the length of the video. But yeah, the one thing I did edit though is once I got to Five Guys, you'll notice that there is a cut there, and that is from, because I sat there for a while eating lunch, so I kind of cut that part out. So when we get there, after I park and everything, they'll be cut, and then I'll start going again to return. Now, the snow that we actually got, you'll notice too, once we get along the interstate, is the snow is actually from a storm we had on Friday. And believe it or not, that storm dropped about, I want to say maybe 7-8 inches of snow. And that was 2 days before this recording. But it's just been so warm, it was kind of like winter's last hurrah. So I mean, it's kind of tough to tell that we got that much snow, but we did, so. And it was actually quite windy when we got that too. In fact, there was, I think, a little over 250,000 customers in Maine here that lost power from that storm. And as of this recording, and also as of me doing this audio, there's still, I think, about 25,000 in the state that's without power. Now there are more that have lost power because of the current storm that we're having right now as of me recording, with the wind and rain. The wind's supposed to gust at times over 50 miles per hour here. So I think some people have lost power from this current storm as well. So it's kind of gone up a little bit again. But not as much as I think they thought it was going to lose, but I mean, the storm is not over with yet either, so it could lose more. Now, I do apologize if there are bits where I'm not really saying anything. Don't really know what to say, I guess. But I'll try to talk as much as I can. Now, we'll be coming up to the interstate here in a little bit. This is Interstate 95. I'm sure you probably saw some of the signs back at the light there showing Interstate 95 and Interstate 395 as well. Now that mountain over onto the left is actually a garbage mountain. They don't dump garbage there anymore, but that's what that little hill or mountain is that you saw back there. Now this store on the right, they had just rebuilt. They tore down the old store there and replaced it with this one. Put all new pumps and everything in as well. And it opened up, I think, in the fall, I want to say. Now when I'm going on the interstate here, you can probably, I don't know if you probably saw from that sign or not, but we're heading north on Interstate 95 here. And just on the other side of that bridge there is a truck rest stop called Dice Arts. And in fact, SNL spoofed one of the commercials for Dice Arts. It was with Will Ferrell and I don't remember the other lady's name. They did the spoof for that restaurant there. Now, the next exit on the interstate here is an exit a lot of people take when they end up heading over towards like Acadia National Park, Bar Harbor. This is the way that most people end up going. So some of these brown signs you're seeing, well, that one I don't think is, but the one before was for the Down East region of Maine, which includes Acadia National Park and Bar Harbor. Now hopefully, of course, me recording or kind of doing the audio for the video here, I don't have it full screen, so it's kind of tough to tell right now how the quality is. The camera quality is supposed to have been 4K, but it seems like it's really not that great. Of course, the camera I'm using is pretty cheap as well. It's I think it was like $60 or something like that. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not like a GoPro expensive or anything like that. It's Campac Extreme 1 Ultra High Definition 4K. That's the camera that I'm currently use for this. Eventually I may get a GoPro, but I don't know. Now this exit right here, exit 182A, that's the exit that people will take when they go to Acadia National Park, Bar Harbor. That brings you on to Interstate 395, which is just a short spur, although eventually they're going to extend it. I think right now it's like 6 miles in length. So it's not very long. It only goes in through Bangor and Brewer, from what that sign showed. Now off to the left here, you'll see a clearing, and there's actually like a little field there, and then another road, and on the other side of the other road is actually an airport. Bangor International Airport, and you might see signs, not for this exit right here, which you would think it would be, but it's actually the next exit that you would take if you wanted to get over to the airport. Well, actually to where the terminal is. There's like general aviation that you can get to off this exit. I mean, you can get to them both. I'd have to like display a map or something like that. I was almost thinking of putting like a mini map up in like the lower corner or something like that of where I was, but I don't think I'm going to. Yeah, you can see airport on that sign right there. So the exit we're going to be getting off at, this is exit 184. We'll be getting off exit 186, and how Maine exits work, if you're not too familiar with Maine, or if you've never been to Maine, the exit numbering system in Maine is based off or on the mileage system. So exit 184 is closest to mile marker 184. Now this construction right here, they're replacing a bridge, and they just started it. It's supposed to be completed, I think, in the fall. And that bridge that they're replacing was an original bridge when the interstate opened back in, I want to say 55, 56. I think, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it was an original bridge. A lot of these bridges, like this one right here, are original bridges. I'm sure eventually that one will need to be replaced as well. But yeah, anyway, so you can see, I think just back there a little bit, there was like a tree you could see that was down. That was from the snowstorm that we had, the nor'easter, as they called it. Now, next exit we're getting off at is the Stillwater exit 186. That was the sign that we saw back there. Now, one thing I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but, well, that sign right there is for, like, this hands-free law that we have in Maine. There's signs here and there for that. But another sign just before that you might have seen, kind of folded closed before the exits. Maine has recently implemented a detour thing for the interstate. So if they need to close the interstate for like an accident or whatever, they'll open up that sign and it will tell you to take a certain detour. You'll see it right here on the left, right where it's folded closed, and it will say like emergency, like follow. I mean, I've never seen that open, but there are signs throughout the town, in fact, or yeah, throughout Bangor and other towns. And once we get up to towards the end of the ramp here, you might see some small green signs with like letters on them. It would say like emergency route GG or emergency route F, for instance. So if they had to close the interstate, you would follow emergency route F, which will bring you to the next on-ramp. Now this light up here is actually no turn on red, but by the time we get up to it, it was already green. So I mean, that was a pretty good timing for that. But there are quite a few people who still end up turning right on red there, especially in the right lane, because there's two lanes that turn right there. Now we are currently over by the mall. You can see the mall off to the right, JCPenney's. That big store right there used to be Macy's. Well, when it was originally built, it was Filene's. Then Macy's took over, and now it's a furniture store. There's 4 anchor stores in the mall there. Currently, one of them is empty. That was where Sears was. JCPenney, which was an original one, is still there. And the other one we have is Dick's Sporting Goods. Now we'll be coming up to Five Guys here fairly shortly. In fact, the next light we come up to, we'll be turning left to go into where Five Guys is, which is actually up near where Walmart is here in Bangor. Now, you may or may not notice when we stopped here, or when we stop here, although the light's actually red when we come up to it anyways. Typically, since it has an individual signal there, that means you won't be able to turn left in when it's a red signal, but I feel like that intersection they should make it so you can turn left there when like the regular light's green, because sometimes there's like no traffic on the other side and you have to wait quite a bit. Now, I don't know if you saw right there, but there was a bit of snow. I was gonna park in the parking spot closest to the curb there, but I decided not to because of the curbside pickup. And when I back up, you might be able to, yes, you can see the snow off to the left there. I was gonna park over there, but then I saw the snow, and unfortunately I was too far forward to pull into this parking spot, so I had to readjust. So yeah, you'll see a cut right here. There we go. So I just had lunch and everything, and now we're gonna be heading back. Now I've never used, I don't know if they ever did the curbside pickup before everything started going on with the COVID-19 and everything like that. But I tell you what, I'm glad you can still get Five Guys for lunch, because I absolutely love their hot dogs. I never got their hot dogs before. I used to get like their burgers, but now I get hot dogs and they're actually really good. Although maybe next time I go, maybe we'll get burger or something like that. There's a couple people there that know what I order now, and they'll probably end up throwing them off if I get some burgers, but you know, that's fine. Now, this land here, at one point in time, used to be all farmland. Although this road, I think, was still here. It's just, there was just farms on either side at one point in time. In fact, part of it, when we get up a little bit further here, there'll be a road off to the right. And down at the end of there is an old farmhouse. And that actually belonged to my great-grandmother. And so a lot of this land, like where Home Depot is off to the right, and part of where the mall is, was owned at one point in time from my family, my great-grandmother's family. They had a dairy farm over here. Just on the other side of Chili's here, actually, is a road off to the right. And down at the end of there is the farmhouse. To where, of course, the farm was. Now, my great-grandmother there passed away, I want to say, maybe 5-6 years ago now. She was like 96 though, so I mean, she lived a pretty good life. Good long life. Now this intersection, or at least the way they have this set up, I find is absolutely stupid. I typically don't like to turn left here too much to go on the interstate, because as soon as we turn left, you'll see there's 2 lanes turning left here. And as soon as we turn left here, the left lane ends. You might see that from this sign here. So what people will do is they'll go into that left lane and race people who are in the right lane. So I think it's absolutely stupid the way they have that set up. I always thought what they should have done, if they're going to have the 2 lanes turn there, keep the 2 lanes coming onto the interstate here, then have one of the lanes end, and then they may need to widen the bridge, but I thought, especially through Bangor here, is have a 3rd lane when the on-ramp comes on, and have it extend to the next off-ramp. So, and then once you get to the next off-ramp, it will go back down to the 2 lanes, and when the next on-ramp comes back on, you get that 3rd lane again, which will extend all the way to the following off-ramp. That's how I think they should do it, but I mean, who am I to say, I suppose, but just with the 2 turn lanes there, I always thought that was absolutely stupid. But yeah, anyways, so this is exit 185 here. We'll be getting off at exit 180. Now, Bangor has exits every mile on Interstate 95, starting with exit 182 A and B, where we started just before the airport, where people would go to get towards Bar Harbor, Acadia National Park. So you have that, and then the final exit, which is actually one more after we get off, which will be exit 187. So we've got 6 exits in through Bangor. Well, 7 if you include 182A and 182B. Now we'll be coming up to this bridge again. And in fact, yesterday when I recorded this, going towards the mall, they only had the speed limit sign for the construction speed limit 50, which no one ever does. It's actually 60 through here, and some people even go 70 in through Bangor here, although this section, especially going this way, people tend to slow down a bit because it's kind of going uphill. But today I noticed, because I went over by the mall again, went to Chick-fil-A for lunch there. And once again, I'm not sponsored by any of these restaurants. But when I was going towards that direction, they had a couple other signs showing like reduce speed ahead and stuff like that. Now right up here on the right, you'll see actually quite a few trees. I don't know how well it shows up on the camera here. Oh yeah, you can see like right there, big tree, some trees right along there that have come down from the storm. They were actually going through today and cutting all that up. That was the DOT that went through there and cut that all up. In fact, I think when we went through too, there was a little bit less snow than there was here. Of course, with it raining and being warm, it's going to help melt the snow as well. Now off to the left here as well, there's actually a golf course. It's a they have an 18-hole course and a 9-hole course. It's called Bangor Municipal Golf Course, or Bangor Muni for short. And usually when I play there, I just play the 9-hole course, which is called the Kelly 9. Find it's enough for me. Now we're coming up to the exit that people would once again take to go towards the Katy National Park, Bar Harbor. Now of course we're heading south on Interstate 95. That was the last exit in Bangor. You saw that if we kept going, we'd get towards Newport and Augusta. And eventually, if you kept following it, there'd be a split just on the other side of Augusta, where you'd have 295 and 95. 95 is the main turnpike at that point, and 295 is kind of like a bypass, and it's actually a bit shorter. Time-wise, though, it's about the same, but I usually like to go 95 anyways. I mean, there's more tolls that way, but... And then at the end of 295, where it starts to join back up into 95, you have Portland, and then about 40 miles, 50 miles from there is to the New Hampshire border. So of course, with this exit being 180, that means if you were to stay on 95, you have 180 miles to get to the New Hampshire border from here. Now, if you were to head north, past Bangor, it would still take you about 105 miles or so past Bangor to get to the Canadian border. So there's still like 302 miles of interstate in Maine. But of course, Maine is the only state as well that does not have an east-west highway. And unfortunately, it keeps getting shot down. Because I know they want to plan, they've been talking about, each time they talk about it, using old logging routes on western Maine. I think Vermont and New Hampshire were fine with the east-west highway, but they just needed... I mean, I don't know why they couldn't just build it and then wait for Maine to finally say, yeah, we'll do it. But the reason why they want to do it is because it makes it easier for the truckers to get to like upstate New York, or to get to like Toronto over that way, instead of having to go down in through Massachusetts, Connecticut, to head over that way, where it takes quite a bit longer. Now, Dysart's is just to the right here. That's that truck stop that I was mentioning about earlier on. Now, of course, we're going to be cutting back over the interstate here. Now, as you can see, we're heading towards Route 1A. We're not on Route 1A, but we're heading towards US Route 1A, which actually goes towards Bar Harbor Katy National Park as well. Well, part of it goes back in through Bangor that way. In fact, at the end of 395 there, you'll take Route 1A to get towards Bar Harbor Katy National Park. And if you go the other way, you head south. Now, eventually, I know I did record, and I know I mentioned I was going to record video of me heading towards work, or to where I work anyways. I have recorded it from this past summer, but I've never actually done anything with it, and maybe eventually I will. But I figured, you know what, this would be a good video to start out with. Maybe at some point I'll show more of Bangor, more towards like the waterfront, out that way. But for now, I feel like this was a pretty good one to go. Now, usually when I head to work, because of course I work in, as I mentioned, I think in videos prior, I drive bus, like a shuttle bus down in Bar Harbor. So, but I usually don't go 1A that way. I usually go a back way to get there. Now, in other videos, I think in digital road trip videos, I've mentioned about like clearing, and this is the clearing I had mentioned about. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I would imagine they're gonna build something. Now, this guy, when we were coming on to 202 here, US Route 202, this guy right here was going about 30, 35, and as you could probably have kind of seen there, the speed limit's 55, so he was kind of like crawling, but now he's kind of like picking up speed here. I probably could have got sped up to get in front of him, but I didn't know he was going to be going that slow either. Now, of course, we're getting towards the end of the video here. Heading back towards where we started. But, of course, when I was recording this as well, it was Easter Sunday, so a lot of places are closed. Like Hannaford's right there was closed. Five Guys, like I said, was open, which was nice. But not many places were obviously open for Easter. Mall would have, I think, been a little bit busier if it wasn't Easter. I mean, there's still quite a few people that do go out even with everything going on. As you kind of saw too, but I mean, yeah. Now, a house on the left here, right where that fence was for the driveway, that house puts up some really cool Christmas decorations. Lots of lights and everything. It's actually pretty when they have the lights all set up for Christmas. But yeah, as we're winding down on this video, though, I do want to mention that I should have mentioned at the beginning, but I forgot. That this video, or this series, is not going to be a regularly scheduled series. I'm just going to upload videos whenever I guess I feel like it for this one, or because of course it'd be kind of tough to try and find videos to record, dashcam videos to record. But like I said, eventually I'll put up the one for me heading towards work. But yeah, anyways, yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And of course, as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye!